بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك رحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we are able to continue our study of Unit 2 of Islamic belief system. As you remember, we just started discussion about wisdom of God. And we said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for everything He does, He has a reason which is significant. He does things for purpose. And unlike what some people have thought, that considering purpose for God would lead to thinking of Him as someone who has needs and wants to meet His needs, we said no. To have purpose would not necessarily mean that you have needs. For needy beings, it can be like that. But even for needy beings, sometimes they may do things just out of love, out of passion. For God, who is absolutely free from need, the purpose is to benefit the other party or parties, to give. For example, I mentioned for you this Persian poem that says, من نکردم خلق تا سودی کنم بلکه تا بر بندگان جودی کنم. I have not created in order to make a profit or benefit. I have created in order to show my generosity. A teacher sometimes teaches in order to make some money. Or a teacher sometimes teaches in order to learn better. A teacher sometimes teaches in order to build up his CV, for example. But we can imagine that there is a teacher who loves teaching. He doesn't need money. He doesn't need CV. Just out of love. When he or she sees that there are people who are in need of his knowledge, would do it. So here, the teacher doesn't want to gain, wants to give. Okay? This is for someone that teaching has become like essential characteristic for him. Natural, very natural. Or a doctor can sometimes visit the patient for money or for, reputation or whatever. But you can imagine that there is a doctor that is not concerned at all about what I am going to get out of this. Just wants to help people who are ill. Okay? So, even in human beings who are very needy, very dependent, there is a possibility of doing something purely for the sake of helping. About Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, is much greater. Anything that He does it naturally, out of His own very essence. Okay? For Allah to give, to be kind, to be merciful, is just natural, is just essential. You know, for example, sweetness for sugar does not need a gain or a profit to go to sugar. We ask sugar, why are you sweet? It says, because I want to gain something. No, to be sugar means you are sweet. Yeah? So, there is purpose, and that purpose is significant. Allah does not do things for, insignificant reasons. Allah is not someone that, can be excited or triggered. Therefore, you do something, later you say, oh, there was no need for doing it. He is Hakim. He has very clear purpose in everything that he does. But the purpose goes to the other party or parties, not to himself. Here I would like also to mention the difference between hikmah and adl. Adl, as you remember in previous course when we talked about lessons on Islamic beliefs, the previous book, we said adl is one of those attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that historically was very much debated, and therefore Shia, to distinguish themselves from the people who didn't have proper understanding of adl, they chose divine justice as one of their principles. You remember we had this discussion. So it's very important quality of God. What is the difference between adl and hikmah? Adl means either to give everything its right. Okay? إِعْطَاءُ كُلِّ ذِي حَقٍّ حَقَّهُ. إِعْطَاء means to give. كُلِّ ذِي حَقٍّ, anything, anyone that has a right, if you give his due right, if you observe the rights of those who have rights, this is adl. Okay? Another definition of adl, which is actually maybe even more fundamental, deeper, is وَضْعُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ فِي مَوْضِعِهِ. وَضْعُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ فِي مَوْضِعِهِ. Putting everything in its right place. Can you think of what's the difference between these two definitions? When we say giving everything its or his due right, or putting everything in its due place, right place. What's the difference? One of the differences is this, that the second definition would cover even those cases that the party which has a right may not be intelligent. Therefore, it might be difficult to think of having right, but it has a proper way of treatment. For example, I have, for example, something very valuable like a book. What is adala with respect to a book? Adala with respect to a book is to use it for the purpose for which this book is made. Or you can even say for the best purpose that this can be used. Either the purpose for which this is made or the best purpose that this can be used. And that is reading. If I use book to decorate my room, there are people who make a library and then they go to bookshops and I want 2 meters of books. Just to decorate And now even you, sometimes you go to some places, they actually don't put books with wood or plaster. They just make like books. Is it adl? Is it justice here when you use books for a purpose for which book has not been made? Or for example, I have some papers, I don't want the wind to take them around, so I put the book as just a weight. Or sometimes I see people, for example, put a book, in front of a door, so that the door is not closed or shut, things like this. Sometimes people put, and this makes me very, very sad, upset when I see something. For example, they put a book under a chair or, a desk just to fit the, height. This is zulm. But because book may not have right, because you may think that right is for something which is conscious and understanding, so you can use the other definition. Instead of saying observing the right of the book, you can say using book in the proper way, putting it in its proper place. But you can also do a little bit of expansion, the meaning of right, and use it even for things which have no intelligence. Like we can say, what is the right of my eye over me? What is the right of my ear, my hand, my pen, my money? Okay? So if you expand, you do tawsa'ah in the meaning of right, then you can say adl is to give everything its due right. If you don't want to expand, then you can say adl is to put everything in its due place. When you use adl in the second definition, it gets very close to hikmah. Because hikmah is also to do everything with purpose and with observing what's the best way of doing things. I never forget a very beautiful example one of my teachers, used to give. Ayatollah Ahmadi Mianaji, he used to teach us akhlaq. Once he mentioned this example and it made my mind. He said, Hakim is the one who would never put mafatih on Quran. Both of them are very important. Both of them are sacred because in mafatih we have lots of names of God, lots of verses of the Quran, even lots of chapters of the Quran. But Hakim, even for putting one book on the other, considers the values which are there. Quran should be put on mafatih, not mafatih on Quran. Sometimes, you go to places, you see people put Quran, then on Quran, top of Quran, they put Nahj al-Balagh or Mafatih or ordinary books. This is not right. Even if you have Quran without translation and Quran with translation, the one which is without translation should be put on the one which has translation. Because the one which has translation, half of it is not Quran. Why you put that half on the Quran? Okay? So Hakim, for everything, has a reason. Hakim just is not the one that just does not do zulm. It's not enough not to do zulm. Hakim goes beyond. Not only doesn't do zulm, doesn't do anything in vain, even doesn't do the second best when he can do the first, the best, the most important thing. This is hikmah. If in a city we have many mosques, but we don't have a school, what does Hakim do? Hakim says, shall we make, for example, another mosque? Or says we should make a school. And if we have many a school and don't mosque, of course we make a mosque. If we have mosque and a school, we don't have any hospital, we make a hospital. Yeah? You have to find out what is most useful, most needed, what is the priority. But some people who have no hikmah, just they say, no, there is reward for making masjid. They don't know that sometimes actually making a new masjid can be punishable. When we have already a masjid which is not filled, why you are dividing the community by making a second masjid? Okay? So we don't have such general idea that as much as you can make masjid. Uzkurullah kathiran, also build masjid kathiran. We don't have such concept. Everything with hikmah. How much we need. What are our resources? What is the best way to use our resources? So the hikmah. Okay. Now, the main question that comes is when there are problems or issues that look to us like problems in the world, how can you make sense of these problems in the world while you still believe that God is wise and just? Okay? For example, there are catastrophes, flood, earthquakes, I don't know, sometimes epidemic disease, wars. They divide the problem into moral problems and natural problems. Moral problems are those that human beings that are involved, like war, killing, dictatorship. Okay, these are moral problems. There are natural problems, like earthquake and famine and flood and storm. So some people say, if God is just, why he lets these things happen? You cannot say he does not have knowledge of these problems, because you have already said he knows everything. You cannot say he does not have power, because you said he has power over everything. And you cannot say God is, na'udhu billah, merciless or is not benevolent, because God is believed to be benevolent. So they use three characteristics of God to form an argument. And some people say this is the strongest argument against existence of God. No one has a very serious argument about existence of God. Those who are atheists, they can never prove that God does not exist. The only thing they can do is challenge arguments for existence of God, or challenge your ideas. They raise a question, an objection, and then if you don't know how to answer, they weaken your faith. The strongest thing that they find is this, what we call mas'alatu shar, the problem of evil. That they say there are problems in the world, and existence of these problems with accepting God, who is all knowledgeable, all powerful and benevolent, would not fit, would not match. There's conflict. What is our answer? We say, first of all, when we accept through proof, through argument, that God has these qualities, we have argued for knowledge of God, for power of God, perfection of God. If there are problems in the world, you have to either find an explanation for those problems, or if you are not able, you can just ask. You cannot deny the qualities of God. You know, if I go to a massive building, massive, and I know the best designer has designed this building. Then they take me to a room. I don't know why this room made in this way. And I have no education, no experience, no fame, no reputation like the one who has designed this. Just because I don't know why this room has made in this way, I cannot question this person or deny that this had a designer. Because just I don't understand why this is there. The maximum we can do is just to ask question. We cannot deny God when we don't understand something. We are focusing on little points on a massive painting. You are just focusing on 1 point, 2 points, you don't understand what does it mean, why this is here. But if you were able to see the whole picture, you would understand that this point is for a reason. So no one can deny wisdom of God. They can ask questions for understanding, and everyone is welcome. In Islam, we have no problem for asking questions. Just there are etiquettes and manners. You have to ask questions with some etiquettes. Otherwise, no problem in asking questions. Indeed, you are encouraged to ask questions. فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. If you don't know, ask those who know. Don't ask someone like yourself to confuse him. I don't understand something, then I ask someone else who doesn't understand and I confuse him. Ask someone who knows and can answer you. Don't ask a question on top of member. Member is not for asking question and raising question to the audience. Member is for giving answer to the questions of people, not adding to the questions of people. So, there are etiquettes and manners, but you can ask questions. I want to make few points to help people who have genuine questions. No problem. This is not a sign of being a bad person or, a sign of weakness of iman. If you have questions, no, it's good. You can ask questions. First, no one has any right over God. So, please don't think of zulm, because no one has any right over God. If God has given me one child and has given another person 5 children, and another person no child at all, I cannot say God has done little zulm to me, but still I have one child. This person has no child, so God has done lots of zulm to him. A person, for example, is healthy, a person is ill. The one who is ill cannot say God has done zulm to me. Why? Because none of us has any right over God. If God has given us something, it's not because He owed us. Everything He gives is a favor. If a person comes to this room and says, I want to give some gifts. He gives to some people, for example, a voucher of £1,000, to some people £100, to some people £50, to some people he doesn't give anything. We cannot say you are zalim, you are unjust, because you have not given us equally, or you have not given us based on merits. We cannot say this is zulm. Why? Because this is his pocket money. This is his own money, personal money. Yeah? If this money belonged to us, then he had to observe some criteria. But if it is his gifts, someone brings niyaz, he doesn't want to give to some of us, he wants to give to other people. We cannot say this is zulm. This is niyaz he has brought. This is gift he has brought. What we can say, the maximum we can say is this wise? That you distribute your own money, no problem. This is your own money, no zulm. But is this wise that you distribute without any reason? You give to some people more, to some people less, to some people you don't give anything. So it's a question of wisdom, not question of adl. So no one can question justice of God. Yes, there is only one way to question justice of God. And that is when God himself promises something. And therefore he creates some rights for people. Then if he doesn't keep his promise, then we can say this is zulm. Okay? This is when he initiates rights. For example, he says, if you do this good action, this hasanah, I am going to reward you. And then you do it and he doesn't reward you. Okay, here we can say this is zulm. Okay? Because he has promised. He has, undertaken this, gift to be paid. When you undertake, when you promise, it's no longer a gift. Yeah, you are creating a haqq, a right for that person. So if God sends pious people to Jahannam, yes, we can say this is zulm. But the things that God gives without us doing something and, deserving some kind of reward, it's his favor and we cannot question his adl. We can just ask about hikmah. So, we have to move on to another discussion. What is hikmah in having differences? Why some people are ill, some are healthy? Why some people die soon, some people live longer? Why some people have no children, some people have children? Why some people are more intelligent, some people are less intelligent? Why some people are more beautiful, some people are... These differences all relate to hikmah. We want to understand what is the hikmah. Yeah? Why God has created us differently. He doesn't do anything in vain. So, the maximum we can do is to try to understand hikmah beyond this diverse, this colorful creation of God. But you have to know that we can never fully understand the hikmah beyond the creation. Time is... We can never understand the hikmah fully because we will never have that much of comprehensive knowledge and understanding that God has. Inshallah, in the next session, we will explain what is the purpose for creation of this world and what are the factors that lead to differences in this world. So we will talk about differences and about the purpose, and then we would see whether hikmah would require that or require something else. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.